So what advice do you have for that young man or that woman out there who, according to the media, according to everything out there, that the market is so rocky and so shaky? What advice do you have for them as far as going out and just starting out and investing, taking that $1,000 that they got from grandma and making that money go to
invest for the long term? You know, in portfolio management, there's this example or parody, I should say, where they analogize managing money or your portfolio to an elevator button. And you show up to the lobby of an elevator, there's 15 people waiting for the elevator, the button's already green, lit up, waiting for the elevator to come. The first thing you gotta do as soon as you walk up is push the button. You couldn't not touch the button. And so many times we want to just touch the money. We want to move it into another stock because we heard about this. We want to move it into another fund because we heard about this. Once again, everyone thinks Warren Buffett is a genius, and perhaps he is. The only thing he does is invest for the long term in sustainable businesses like Coke and insurance, you know what I mean, and real estate, and he rides those businesses out through their business cycles. For our clients right now, we're actually really excited to do speaking engagements and introduce people to investing, because in this era of our markets, there is no debate that we are in record lows, and you can never bottom fish and time the bottom exactly. But for people in their 20s and their 30s, and even to a certain degree in their 40s, because people are working longer, initiating accounts now and continuing to invest through the bad times is the biggest favor anyone can do themselves. And again, particularly with historic lows, and you're thinking about your long-term investment horizon of 10, 15 years.
A lot of what you said to us today, you pinpointed a specific demographic that, well, not a specific, but there's a demographic that Thrasher Funds is after.
Right.
For example, when you go online, you see people in business suits,
right.
You see someone with the mohawk.
Right.
Can you just speak about how, in this day and age, people in suits aren't the only ones who are actually investing and making good use of their wealth and their funds?
Absolutely. I mean, our whole brand is playing with that juxtaposition. We met with a fashion designer yesterday who sold her company to a very large fashion company, and she was saying she had very poor experiences with going into traditional investment shops because they didn't want to explain things to her. Their culture was very staid, which is good because I have many friends there and they're very smart guys. But in this new economy, where you have 3-year-olds growing up using the computer, everyone really is smarter, and they should be, and they should understand more of the goings-on with their money and their businesses. So, we recognize that, there may be a 50 Cent who was aware enough to invest in vitamin water and be a part of a major Fortune 500 deal. This is the environment that we're in. All of the investors are not going to be looking exactly the same. And we are trying to address that on a high-end level and also on a more day-to-day level.
Okay. And lastly, there are tons of materials out there, tons of resources. We can Google pretty much anything right now. But what for you, or what has worked for you as far as resources and materials that you think would help our minorities today?
One of my personal favorite things to do is collect the stories of people who I respect, or whose careers or the way they went about business I really looked at. And I like to look at the parts of the stories that were almost anecdotal that got them to where they were. Whether that was when was the era when they thought it was just all not going to be worthwhile? I don't want to hear about Diddy being in Saint-Tropez. I want to hear the story about Diddy taking the train from Howard to New York to watch cars and really be able to see his own future and invest that time in himself and money in himself before he was balling. With Jim Jones, anecdotally. So nonetheless, those are the types of stories that I like to collect because they inspire me through the hard times, and that's just part of it, whether it's personal, whether it's business. My godmother always likes to say, they're going to be hard times, prepare yourself, there are going to be more of them, and so that's what I like to collect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you.
CEO, founder, portfolio manager for Thrasher Funds. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
This is Gregory Fleury for BU Magazine signing out.